So today's talk is going to be from about depth from vision. So we are going to look at different methods that have been researched and brought into picture by various researchers, where we can estimate what is the depth of an object or a scene just from vision without using a sensor. So how do humans do it? How do we do it? So the reason the reason our species has evolved to have two eyes is so that we get two different images of a scene, and our brain estimates the depth from it. So this the same thing has been implemented synthetically by a method called as strangulation. So how we have two eyes, and we get two different images, and the brain structures the depth. In the same way, we can do it mathematically by this method called as strangulation. So what is strangulation? I'm going to explain you in a bit. And the camera you are seeing to the right of you is the camera having two separate cameras, which will take two separate images. It's called stereo vision, and it's a camera by a company called Z, which does all this depth perception stuff. So the other way you can estimate depth without two stereo cameras is called depth from motion. So if you take something like pigeon or a few birds, these birds have their eyes to a completely separate either side of their head. Like one eye cannot see what the other eye is seeing. So in this case, it's not like humans. You can't relate the picture from one eye to another eye. Then what these pigeons do is they move their head continuously in random positions, very fast. So they get the picture of the scene in multiple images with that motion of their head, and that's how they estimate depth. And the same thing can be done mathematically using this procedure called as bundle adjustment. We look into what is bundle adjustment in a bit. And now there's another method where people have started to perceive depth. That's with neural networks. So if you see the image on your screen, you are seeing two beavers, I think. So you can observe that the image, the first image, which is on the upper part of the screen, is bigger than the image below. So we get a feel that it's bigger than the other one, but actually both the images, both the uh, beavers are of the same size. It's just an illusion that is getting created. uh, your brain is creating such an illusion that you're seeing them as two different sizes. So in fact they are of the same size. The illusion is getting created because of those parallel lines getting being met at one point of infinity. So the reason I'm showing you this image right now is to tell you that okay, I said that in order to perceive depth, you need two separate images. But if you just close one eye and look at an object or a scene, even then you're able to perceive the depth, right? Now, how is it happening? How can, if I said that two images are required, but you're able to perceive depth even with single eye? That's happening because your brain has been trained with lot data throughout your life. Throughout your life, you have perceived, seen, or your environment using two separate images, and now your brain has been trained to perceive depth even with a single eye. So the reason right now that illusion is getting created is because your brain is telling that okay, this must be uh, a bigger one because it's because of that experience you have. So in the similar way, we have even tried to estimate depth using neural networks. As neural networks are inspired by the brain, we have come up with a method using convolutional neural nets and transfer learning, where you have an input, which is the left column which you are seeing. That's a raw image, raw RGB image, and the right column, right end column, which is the ground truth. So here you train an AI with X as the input, which is the RGB, and Y, which is the output, with ground truth. And the AI will output a similar depth map, which you can see in the middle. The middle column is what the AI is predicting. So we have trained an AI successfully. People have started training the machine learning or the neural network successfully to estimate depth, which can happen only using single camera. So this is an example of the deep learning model working in real time. As you can see, it's calculating the depth or estimating, or the output of the given RGB image is being calculated in very fast manner so that it can be used in real time also. Okay, now coming to SLAM. So the talk's main aim was for me to tell what is SLAM. It's to give you an insight of SLAM. So SLAM is a classic approach of computer vision to perceive depth and localize a machine or a robot. So what does SLAM means? Simultaneous localization and mapping. Here, localization is uh, estimating the current position of a given machine or a given device as well as according to the environment, and mapping is perceiving the environment itself. You'll understand it while we go through the slides. So what you're seeing here are various operations that SLAM uses. So all there are various different kinds of slams implemented throughout the years, and all the slams require these five major operations, and we are going to go through each operation through the talk. Okay, the first one is feature detection. Now, what is feature detection? Feature detection is a method of computer vision where you want to uh, abstract some certain features from an image. Feature in the sense, so the dots you are seeing, right? The red, blue, all the colorful dots you are seeing on the image. So the this computer vision algorithm, not algorithm actually, there are various algorithms to detect features. So this feature detection is when the computer vision algorithm tries to abstract a certain region and image where which it thinks is a unique point. So all those colorful points you're seeing is that the algorithm has detected it to be a unique region in that image, which can be found when the scene is again showed to it. So feature detection is basically abstracting certain features or points in a given image which the algorithm thinks to be unique. With every feature you have something called as descriptor. So descriptor, whenever the algorithm throws you a key point or whenever it throws you a feature, it throws you a descriptor with it. So a descriptor is nothing but a patch. It's a region around a single point which will describe the point. So if you the whole point for us to like do feature extraction is so that you can find it in another image, right? So in order to find it in another image, you need this thing called as descriptor. So every point is matched with an other point in the other image using this descriptor. I know there are a lot of doubts. You can ask me at the end of the slide. I'm sorry if I'm not clear in any of the topic I'm explaining. The next operation which SLAM uses is called triangulation. So triangulation is where you have two images. So if you just observe the figure, you have an x and you have an x dash to the right. So you have two images which are looking at one single point called x, the capital X. So that capital X is being projected on the left plane as well as the right plane, which is basically a left image plane and right image plane. Now on the left image plane, this capital X is being projected as X, and on the right plane, it's being called as X dash. And the baseline, the B which you are seeing behind the image planes, is the distance from left camera plane to the right camera plane. That's the distance between two cameras. And the Z which is at the right vertical line, that is the depth of that point from X to the image plane. So there's an equation which satisfies all these variables and give you the depth, which is Z, which is also called as disparity in CV. So the main aim of triangulation is to get this z value, which is the depth of a given point. This is an example result of triangulation where you have a left image and a right image, and the disparity map is shown below. So this disparity map has been calculated using triangulation. Now the x which I'm talking about here is nothing but a certain feature which has been detected by feature detection algorithms. So next operation which is important in depth estimation is called camera pose estimation. This is a process where you want to estimate where the photo was taken from in 3D space. So you are given a couple of photos and you want to know from which position in 3D space the photo has been taken and where is the camera placed in 3D point space, in 3D space. So the process starts like this. First, you have two images. You will run the feature detection algorithm to detect features in left image as well as right image, and then you will match it using descriptors. Once you have this information, you will produce something called as motion field. Now, motion field is a process of understanding in which direction the pixels have been moved from the initial image to the next image. It uses an algorithm called brightness consistency equation, which I won't be covering or telling you in this talk, but you can Google it. If you just Google motion field, you'll get a lot of insight into it. So, what is motion field is the difference of the pixel movement from the initial image to the next image. So, all those green arrows which you are seeing, those arrows are telling uh, that pixel have been moved to which direction in the second image from the first image. And using this as well as few triangulation methods, you can estimate recover the pose of where the camera was when this image was taken. So this point cloud you are seeing can be plotted using some C++ 3D visual tools like Viz or something. So next is called optical flow. Optical flow is not actually a part of SLAM process, but I thought this is important for you to know. Optical flow is when the movement is not within the camera, but the movement is within the scene. For example, if you take the two images which you are seeing at the upper part of the slide, the ducks are moving, the camera isn't moving there. So able to understand what objects have moved to which direction is called optical flow. This is a classic example of how optical flow can be used in real world applications. So here you can get the trajectories of the traffic, which direction are most of the vehicles moving, or what is the density of the vehicles, uh, like that. And the next operation is called bundle adjustment. Now, bundle adjustment is a modification on top of triangulation. In triangulation, we have two separate images, and you try to figure out one single point in the first image and second image, and then estimate the depth. Bundle adjustment is where you have multiple cameras, multiple images looking at the same point. So the bundle adjustment is basically an optimization for triangulation because, uh, for example, if you projected or if you simulated a 3D point using two images, obviously if you simulate the same point using 10 images, the point will be more accurately placed in the 3D space. So as you have more images of the same point in the 3D space, which is not moving, the accuracy of that point being in that 3D point 3D place increases. So it's basically decreasing the error, projection error. There are various slams out there called ARP slam, MOR slam 2, G slam, so a neural slam. So the major difference between like these different slams out there is the way they detect these points. For example, ORB slam uses ORB feature detector. Or feature detection is a algorithm to detect various features in a given image. Like that, these are different slams which are there out there. And so this is an LSD slam. An LSD slam uses OR features to get the features, and you can see a sample output of how it's doing it. So the bottom left image is the raw image, raw grayscale image, and to the right, bottom right, you can see the green, red. These are the points that the SLAM is detecting using a feature detector, and these points are sent into bundle adjustment and triangulation methods to estimate their actual 3D location. This way, they can map an entire city as well. So rather than using costly lidar, which is lakhs of rupees, you can just hook a camera to your dashboard or some place in your car and just drive through to get the map. This is an application of the same LSD SLAM, which is purely from vision, and there is just single camera there. If you can observe, it's not a multiple. It's not stereo. It's just single camera, which is continuously taking photos and doing bundle adjustment and pose estimation to get it. So AR is one of the major applications where depth estimation or it's called multi-view geometry is used. This is where I implemented this LSD SLAM paper on my car. I tried to reconstruct my car 3D model using just my phone's camera, and it was I won't say it's accurate, but it was pretty good. I think. Okay, so sorry. Can you hear the video sound, Hasiba? Can you guys hear the video sound? Or you can't? Okay, 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 okay. It's fine. Uh, okay, in this video, can you hear some noise? Okay, it's fine. I'll explain it off. Okay, so the video that I'm going to show you now was you can hear me, right? Can you guys hear me? Yeah, 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 yeah. So the video that I'm going to show you now is taken from Tesla Autonomy Day conference. So the guy standing over there is the director of AI of Tesla. His name is Andrej Karpathy, and he demonstrated one depth perception from vision application which is used in Teslas. So right now, Teslas don't have something like lidar to perceive depth. They do it completely just with vision and front radar. Now in this video is a recording of 6 seconds of that Tesla moving through the city road. So in just 6 seconds, the cameras that were hooked up on the Tesla were able to map the city or the environment around the car like this. It was just purely based on vision. So this tells us how in what way is this tells us what way this multi-view geometry or depth perception with vision is moving. I thought this Tesla would be a great example for me to show you guys to make you understand the potential of these techniques. That's all. Thank you, everyone. This is my blog, and that's my email. I'll be starting a medium series on depth perception where I'll explain with code how can you implement these techniques to perceive depth. You can follow me on Venkatesh Tata 9. Please ask me if you have any questions. Hello. Yeah. If anyone has any questions, they can ask me about any doubts. So no doubt. Yeah.